Road is a novel by Nigerian author Ben Okri, the first book in a trilogy that continues with Songs of Enchantment 1993 and Infinite Riches 1998. Published in London in 1991 by Jonathan Cape, the story of the Famished Road follows Azaro, an Abaku or spirit child, living in an unnamed African, most likely Nigerian, city. The novel employs a unique narrative style incorporating the spirit world with the real world in what some have classified as animist realism. Others have labeled the book African traditional religion realism, while still others choose simply to call the novel fantasy literature. The book exploits the belief in the coexistence of the spiritual and material worlds that is a defining aspect of traditional African life. Ben Okri Obfrsl, born the 15th of March 1959, is a Nigerian-British poet and novelist. Okri is considered one of the foremost African authors in the postmodern and post-colonial traditions, and has been compared favorably to authors such as Salman Rushdie and Gabriel Garcia Marquez. In 1991, Okri won the Booker Prize with his novel The Famished Road. Magic realism is a style of literary fiction and art. It paints a realistic view of the world while also adding magical elements, often blurring the lines between fantasy and reality. Magic realism often refers to literature in particular, with magical or supernatural phenomena presented in an otherwise real-world or mundane setting, commonly found in novels and dramatic performances. Despite including certain magic elements, it is generally considered to be a different genre from fantasy because magical realism uses a substantial amount of realistic detail and employs magical elements to make a point about reality, while fantasy stories are often separated from reality. Magical realism is often seen as an amalgamation of real and magical elements that produces a more inclusive writing form than either literary realism or fantasy. Okri has spoken of writing the novel during the 3 years from 1988 that he lived in a Notting Hill flat rented from publisher friend Margaret Busby. I brought the first draft of The Famished Road with me and that flat was where I began rewriting it. Something about my writing changed round about that time. I acquired a kind of tranquility. I had been striving for something in my tone of voice as a writer, it was there that it finally came together. That flat is also where I wrote the short stories that became stars of The New Curfew. In the introduction to the 25th anniversary edition of The Famished Road, he said, "The novel was written to give myself reasons to live. Often the wonder of living fades from us, obscured by 1,000 things. I wanted to look at life afresh and anew and I sought a story that would give me the right vantage point. It is also meant to be a humorous book from the perspective of the spirits, the deeds and furies of men are tinged with absurdity. Poverty compelled me to break off writing the novel in order to shape another, different book which would help keep me alive. This was a book of short stories and it forced compression on me." Summary. Azaro is an Abaku, or spirit child, from the ghetto of an unknown city in Africa. He is constantly harassed by his sibling spirits from another world who want him to leave this mortal life and return to the world of spirits, sending many emissaries to bring him back. Azaro has stubbornly refused to leave this life owing to his love for his mother and father. He is the witness of many happenings in the mortal realm. His father works as a laborer while his mother sells items as a hawker. Madame Koto, the owner of a local bar, asks Azaro to visit her establishment, convinced that he will bring good luck and customers to her bar. Meanwhile, his father prepares to be a boxer after convincing himself and his family that he has a talent to be a pugilist. Two opposing political parties try to bribe or coerce the residents to vote for them. Azaro is the story's narrator. He is an Abaku, or a spirit child who has never lost ties with the spirit world. He is named after Lazarus, of the New Testament. The story follows him as he tries to live his life, always aware of the spirits trying to bring him back. Azaro's father is an idealistic load carrier who wants the best for his family and the community. He suffers greatly for this, eventually becoming a boxer and later a politician. Azaro's father loves him deeply, but is often bitter at having an Abaku and occasionally goes on angry violent tirades. Azaro's mother works very hard selling anything she can get her hands on for the family. She cares for her family deeply and constantly gives up food and security for her family and their ideals. She is proud that Azaro is her son and goes to great lengths to protect him. Madame Katwa, proprietress of a local bar. She has a liking for Azaro, though at times is convinced he brings bad luck. She starts out as a well-meaning woman, trying to get along with everyone else. However, as the story progresses, she becomes richer, siding with the political party of the rich, and is often accused of witchcraft. She tries to help Azaro and his family on numerous occasions but seems to try to take Azaro's blood to remain youthful. Jeremiah, the photographer, is a young artist who brings the village to the rest of the world and the rest of the world to the village. He manages to get some of his photographs published, but practices his craft at great personal risk. The landlord supports the party of the rich and is angry with Azaro's family for causing troubles to him and his compound.